I'm Jonni Cheatwood, and I'm a textile-based figurative abstract painter. I live and work in Los Angeles. I dropped out of school when I was about 21 and was working in a restaurant full-time and kind of burnt out. So I needed a hobby. Over the years, I wanted to learn how to paint. So I would look at paintings of Basquiat and kind of taught myself art history through that. Just kind of finding a back door into the art world and kind of just putting my head down and just working hard and grinding. It's just something that kind of fell into place for me. I love it. I love the idea of stitching fabrics that don't really go together and then making it work as a quilt. I want to say 2012, 13, something like that. I didn't have money for canvas, so I would go to the fabric store and take scraps of canvas or scraps of whatever I can find and sew it together and then kind of make these big kind of quilt-like canvases. Fabric is a little bit more delicate than traditional canvas. It kind of has a mind of its own sometimes and it reacts to agents differently. So in order to be able to oil paint on the fabric, I use this acrylic polymer. So I'll do a layer of that as a fabric stiffener and then a couple layers of either a clear gesso or a different polymer, and then I'll kind of run the surface that way. Most of these pictures are gifted to me from my mother and my father, being multicultural and getting to use these to kind of explore my own identity. Really cool kind of going back and seeing these images of my family members and kind of being able to tell a part of my story because I'm painting people that I know and people that I've done life with and people that are no longer here and grieving experiences, grieving those people I just mentioned. But I'm also painting these core memories. It's been a really interesting process just because it's been the most delicate subject matter for me to date. I blur the faces because, well, one is more familiar. So I come from, before I started doing figurative work, I was only working in abstract and it's kind of a way for me to keep the work the same and familiar, but just condensing these abstract shapes into just the face. And in a way, I think it's a way for me to portray emotion, feeling. I think I used to use painting as an escape, as kind of a form of therapy. And now I'm kind of using it to go inside and kind of understand just my emotions in some way, or some things that I never knew I had to grieve. And I allow whoever's viewing the work to interpret it the way that they feel they can interpret it. We all have our own traumas, we all have our own experiences, stories, histories, etc. So you don't have to understand my specific background story to get the work. If you can relate to it, that's all I can ever want and ask for. But the work is for everyone, not just me painting me.